Oh, God,
That's what's crazy. So this is the whole thing when you're talking about ancient technology. If this is only 2,200 years ago, 15,000 years ago, you ain't going to find shit. Like, that is so much longer. And if you think about how eroded that is, if that thing was still in the ocean 10,000 years from now, there'd be nothing left.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's really gross about the whole shipwreck dismissal, is that these ships are made out of wood. The wood would be gone. This idea that it would all be preserved because of cold water, there's no evidence of that. There's evidence of things that are like 600 years old, 1,000 years old. As soon as you get older than that, you get nothing but the pottery and the jewelry on the floor of the ocean, right?
That's absolutely right. It's we don't have fuck all for shipwrecks way back in those days, and those ships that are preserved from even close to like 10,000 years ago aren't ships. They're little fucking canoes that are found in bogs and places, right? If it's in the ocean, it's not. It's Swiss cheese after a few thousand years, and you ain't gonna have nothing left.
Yeah.
One of the things that really is sad about that whole deal is there was a potential for a real good discussion to be had there. Flint does know a lot about archaeology, and he could have sat down with Graham and had a good conversation about this stuff. But in order to do that, he would have had to have not construed it as a debate in his mind. I mean, clearly it was still going to get labeled as such, but by making it a debate in his head, it's like
You have to win.
You have to win, and so you have to sew shut holes that can't be sewn shut. If we're talking about like that, there's shipwrecks. Oh well, they've got to make sure that there's no shipwrecks. You got to make sure that there's no place for him to speculate whatsoever, because, and that's just like, dude. So you end up with.
Right, because he's still right in one way, right? And the way he's right is there's no evidence of a 10,000-year-old shipwreck.
No, there is no evidence of a 10,000-year-old shipwreck. Absolutely.
That's all you have to say. Mm-hmm. And you have to say, well, we have to make a giant leap if you want to assume that people were seafarers. But it is possible. And if it's possible that they did it 2,000 years ago, like do we really know for absolute certainty what year the boat was invented?
Thank you. But I'll tell you something that's kind of painful and hilarious but sad about this. You know, Flint, they're closing the anthropology department at the university Flint teaches at right now. They're closing down other anthropology departments and archaeology departments across the world right now, across the country. There's I just posted one a couple days ago. Flint was sitting here with Graham talking to you, and there was the opportunity for him to say, we do need to do more investigation, Graham. I completely agree with you, which is why I think we need to get some people out there to do some underwater archaeology. Where do you think, Graham? We don't see a few different places. He could be drumming up fucking business with and then the two. Then at the very least, even if he looked down his nose at everything Graham had to say, the cheddar comes in, the investigations happen, and everybody's happy. Instead, they're closing his fucking department. I mean, dude, to me, it's just such a. I mean, might not necessarily be directly related, but he had an opportunity that he completely didn't just piss it away. He just drove it into the ground, did the opposite of what he should have done with it, and they do that as a matter of course. Jimmy Corsetti brought up once about a year ago on Twitter. He's like, "Oh yeah, I think the Nephilim in the Bible, it talks about the giants, the Nephilim. I think maybe that might be an extinct species of hominid. And maybe Denisovans, maybe Neanderthal. So instead of being like, hey, that's interesting, man, but you know what? Denisovans and Neanderthal are both the wrong size neither one of them were bigger than humans, so they couldn't be giants. You need to look into Gigantopithecus or maybe some other, and sent Jim on to go learn about science. Instead, they said, no, it's fucking stupid. Both of these are smaller than that. God, this Jimmy Corsetti guy's a fucking grifter. God, he's stupid. And then I come along and point out that you missed an opportunity here, guys. Why are you doing it like this? Why are you being dicks instead of trying? You're here trying to be a science educator, right?
Right.
He has a bigger platform than you, right?
The giant thing is always weird to me because there's so many people that believe in kooky shit